Dr. Cordy Williams, hashtag Megaphone Marine, hashtag 1776 Forever Free. The last 2 weeks have been a whirlwind. So, yes, I still have CDs up on my visor. Coffee Anderson always makes fun of me. But at any rate, just wanted to say hi as we let people on. God bless you guys. Wanted to take about a week and a half just to really cement myself in the work before I gave some updates. A lot of good stuff happening. First off, I would say related to a certain thing out there, and I'm just going to show my arm here. That thing right there, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's all we're going to say. Starts with a V, and maybe there's the first letter of the alphabet, and then a couple of X's. You need to check out Dr. Sherry Tenpenny's kind of book or pamphlet that she has out there. It's amazing if you guys haven't seen it. I've been so slammed, I haven't been able to put it on the website yet. What's up, Dom? God bless you guys. What's going on? M Jazz, Jay Vander Walker. We got a bunch of folks in here. And what's up? Stephanie Remke. God bless you. God bless you guys. But at any rate, so Sherry Tenpenny has a really, really good thing on this guy right there. See, that's when you know you're living in communism, when you have to do that, right? But so many good things happening. We were in Dallas 2 weeks ago. Epic event put on by basically Pastor Brian Gibson, my good friend Matt Couch. Awesome event. We were in Phoenix this past weekend with the We the People pack and Eric Wisnook. Hopefully I'm not destroying his last name. But Phoenix was amazing. And we had Sonny Borelli, a state senator for Arizona. He's good friends with Colonel Powers. We had him on Unfettered Patriot, Dr. Cordy and Crystal Teeny's Unfettered Patriot, our radio show that just went to an hour. Okay, so if you're not subscribed to that yet, what you can do is you can go to Dr. Cordy and Crystal Teeny. That's what you type in, Unfettered Patriot. It'll come up on Spotify. It'll come up on iHeart. It'll come up on Apple's podcasts and probably 30 other stations. Okay, get out there though. We had a really good program this past weekend. The first hour we had Sonny Borelli. He was given the insider information on Arizona. And then the second hour, we had my good friend Clay Clark. This week, we're going to have on Pastor Greg Locke. And I'm working on Pastor Mark Burns, too. So Greg Locke's got about 4 or 5 million followers. He's an amazing friend of mine. And then we've also, Pastor Mark Burns is the guy that was in the Air Force One with President Trump like numerous times. So he's known as the pastor's president. So I kind of think if you're the pastor's president, you probably know something about getting to heaven, and you're probably worth talking to. I'm saying that sarcastically. The guy's amazing. Both those gentlemen I mentioned are just amazing people. But I shifted in my kind of understanding of or I guess, what would the word be? The way I'm going to train my kids and raise my kids has shifted. And I don't know about you guys, but the last 15 months, I've had a lot of introspection about my view of the world, my view of life, and my mortality. And it's been kind of interesting because, I used to think about what vacation and what I was going to acquire and all these other human things. And now I just want to be with my kids, have freedom, and get closer to Jesus. It's fascinating how events in life can do that to you. And the last 15 months, God bless you, Aaron. Thanks for sharing. Aaron Jean, thank you for sharing. But it's so fascinating, right? And I guess what hit me when I started thinking about this, I don't know about you guys, but if I didn't have this fight, I'd probably be in a deep, dark depression. And if that's you, I want you to reach out to us. You can email Dr. Cordy, DrCordie, at 1776foreverfree.com. If I can't help you, what's up, Eric Metheny? If I can't help you, I'll find somebody to help you, because there's natural herbs, and I don't mean, smoking, smoking the doobage, which if you do that, God bless you. It's not my deal. But what I'm saying is stuff that are like herbs from plants that you can do to raise your, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Because what's happening right now is you had a drastic shift in the world in about 15 months. You had a drastic, grab at freedom in 15 months. So a lot of you, your perspective on what you thought the world was and what the world actually is has shifted. And this totally dawned on me. Like I was telling my wife last night, we're laying in bed. What's up, Joe Collins? I love you, brother. Joe Collins, my boy. He's a hell of a karaoke singer too, especially Sweet Child of Mine. But at any rate, so so like your perspective flipped like that. And so if you're like me, you're kind of like just trying to get your feet settled. You're like, holy S-H-I-T. You know, if you spell it, it's not a cuss word. But at any rate, so you get your world flipped upside down. You're like, I've been protecting this republic and fighting overseas. And now, I mean, honestly, guys, the fight's here. And I've said this before from stage, but like literally my little boy, I was headed off to work the other day. And, you know, I'm like in my head, you know, worried about getting to work on time and what people are going to think and all that BS. And then God just convicted me. God was like, shut your mouth, right? Like, shut up. Because I was going to just tell my boys, my 4-year-old and 2-year-old, I don't want to see your caterpillars, right? I wasn't going to say it that way, but I was like in a hurry. I'm like, son, I don't have time to see the caterpillars because they're basically growing caterpillars. You can go to Chinazon, also known as Amazon, and they'll send you stuff, right? And you can get a caterpillar thing in the mail. And when I can quit doing Chinazon, I totally will, guys. You know, what I always say is, as we can go to smaller businesses, go to smaller businesses. As you can, you know, make shifts, make the shifts, right? But so I get these caterpillars and, you know, it's real caterpillars. You're watching the whole progression. And so they're in the second stage called the chrysalis. I've been talking about this a bunch. I'm just fascinated with it. And so I was going to blow off seeing the caterpurpers, as my 2-year-old says. He can't say caterpillar, so he calls them caterpurpers. And I was going to blow that off. And the Holy Spirit convicted me. He's like, no, you need to see this. And I went there and I'm looking at the caterpurpers and I just had this revelation, right? It's like I'm sitting there and the revelation I had was that I was supposed to prepare my boys differently for life than what I thought I was, the way I thought I was going to prepare them, if that makes sense. Like the way I thought I was going to prepare them is they go to a school, they learn, they get a college education, all this stuff, right? And now I think there's 5 basic things I want to teach them. The first one is they need to learn their roadmap to freedom. They need to own the Constitution inside and out. And as many state laws for the state that we live in as they possibly can. Step number 1, okay? And we're going to have that up online for your kids and my kids very soon. That is in our process. That is in our vision. A digestible, good kids program with colors, interactive stuff where they make it fun. Because guys, here's the thing. When it's easy to buy, people buy it. When it's fun, people buy it. If it's boring and it sucks and it's low quality, people run from it, man. Here, read this 1,000 pages of boring BS, right? Like that's what we think of sometimes when we think of the Constitution. So they got to learn the roadmap to freedom, the Constitution. The second thing they got to learn is the Bible. Okay, and I'm not saying inside and out, right? There's key scriptures that if everybody knew them, imagine how they'd be prepared for life. Like Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10, the full armor of God. If you read that from probably verse 10 to verse 20, I've read it like every morning. And it talks about how we're being, that we'll have to put on this armor to defend and fend off this enemy. And it talks about authorities and power overreach. I was blown away, guys. Every time I read it, I get something new out of it. So roadmap to freedom, roadmap to salvation. What's the third thing? Your Second Amendment, okay? And people are going to say this, and some people are like, oh, you shouldn't talk about that. You won't get into office. Well, if I'm not supposed to get into office, I won't. But people want a lion. They're tired of the betas that tape their stuff back to their butthole. They're tired of the castrated men that lost their man card a long time and traded it in for a mangina. Okay, they want real men. So I'm a real man that's going to walk in God. Will I cuss sometimes? Yeah, I will. Okay, but if you're worried more about the fact of whether I'm slinging a cuss word occasionally, which I'm not, because I've talked to Pastor Jurgen and my pastors about it. I've cleaned up my mouth a lot. But if you're more worried about catching me on that offense than you are about losing your republic, then you need to check your underwear, especially if you're a dude, and see if you're still packing something down there. Like, I mean, seriously, I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now. So roadmap to freedom, Constitution. Roadmap to salvation, the Bible. The third thing is going to be our Second Amendment. My boys are going to start shooting BB guns in probably another 3 years. Okay, probably another 1 year for my 5-year-old. At 7, they're going to be shooting 22s. And then they're going to progress up from there. I was firing a 22 at 7. Okay, and I had a tight grouping. Okay, and that was something my dad was big on. We knew how to fish, we knew how to fend for ourselves, all that stuff. And then learning how to ride a horse. Why? It's another mode of transportation. It takes skill, and who knows, right? Who knows? And then the fifth thing I'm going to suggest is public speaking. The most feared thing in the world. Okay, the most feared thing in the world, being able to reach the masses and convey a message and working on their communication. Because think about in life, the measure of the connections you make with someone and how well you do in business are not really they're not really measured so much on what you know, but how you communicate what you know and your ability to listen. You know, I learned a long time ago from my co-founder, Chris Lippy, who's like, it's weird, he's like a brother and a dad to me, that a lot of times people think of a good communicator not in their ability to convey their message, but to listen to somebody else's. So think about the person that you like the most when you have a business interaction. It's the person that actually heard you and listened, and the person that asked the most questions. The strongest person in the world and the most powerful person in a room is the guy that's asking the most questions, or the gal that's asking the most questions. Those are the people that people remember, and they walk away from that interaction. They're like, holy crap, I really like that person. It's because they made it about them and not about themselves. Meaning they made it about the other person instead of themselves by asking questions. So those are my 5 kind of like mic drops that this interaction with this caterpillar kind of put in my brain. I just saw it, and it was like God spoke to me very clearly, like, this is what your boys need. So we're doing some amazing things, guys. I was on the road 2 weeks, Dallas last weekend, Phoenix. I got back Saturday night about 2 days ago. Spent the night with my boys and my wife. I think we went to dinner or something. And then Sunday is church day, family day. We had a good friend over, all that stuff. And got some time off for a couple of weeks, going to a marriage retreat the first week of June. And then mid-June, we'll be in Tampa with Clay Clark. The week following that, we'll be in Oklahoma City with Clay Clark. And I might be in a week or so, I might be with Shasta Stone as well here in Orange County in San Diego. Had my good friend Amani reach out to me about that. And so a lot of great stuff happening. We got some good things going. We just switched over the merchandise and the donation platform to a platform that 45 used to use. So that's amazing. Good stuff happening there. The constitutional classes are amazing, and they're expanding. If you got disconnected, I can't help it. Hopefully it's not me, but you know, we are getting the CENSORSHIP. That's probably because I talked about the Constitution. Which, speaking of which, here's why you need to go to Constitution classes, right? There are 5 things that occurred, another 5 that occurred related to grabbing your freedom. Well, I turned off my internet because sometimes that interferes with it. But there are 5 things that took your freedom away from the states and gave it to the federal government. And I want you to look these up, and you can also register at 1776foreverfree.com. Go to our constitutional classes on Thursday nights from 6 to 7:15. This is your roadmap to freedom. So the freedom grabs, what were they? 16th Amendment, look it up and come to Doug Gibbs's class. 17th Amendment, look it up, come to Doug Gibbs's class. The third thing was the Electoral College, and you'll know what I mean when Doug and I explain this in an article. The fourth thing was Reynolds versus Sims, which was a court case, I believe, from 1803, 1810, something like that, possibly 1830. Hopefully I'm not wrong on my dates. And the fifth one was Article 5, the Convention of States. 16th, 17th Amendment, Electoral College, Reynolds versus Sims, and Convention of States, Article 5. Okay, Article 5 Convention. Look up those, because those are where we believe the biggest freedom grabs were, where states relinquished power back to the FED. Okay, so just stuff you need to think about, stuff you should know, stuff you need to prepare your family for. This is why we need to know and own our roadmap to freedom. If you're not registered at 1776foreverfree.com for the constitutional class, it's $10. You can do that there. You also need to subscribe to our newsletter there as well. We will be coming out with new shirt designs, things of that nature. Guys, $5 a month, $60 a year to avoid doing the crazy BLM bucks and donating money to them. One less coffee per month would be huge for our mission. So do that today. There's a big button that says reoccurring payment. You just click on that. Subscribe to Unfettered Patriot. Get it out there. Share it. Like it. What else? Telegram. Dr. Cordy Lee Williams, 1776 Freedom Fighter. So you want to know how to help getting those messages out, and doing that and sharing this are so important. So I've gone over time. I love you guys. I hope you learned stuff or learned something today. The 5 freedom grabs, and also the 5 ways you want to really prepare your kids for what's coming in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Okay? God bless you guys. Have an amazing day. Jesus loves you, and Semper Fi.